So in our last video, we were talking about how to combine data from a different tab using VLOOKUP when you have a matching column between two tables. So we had this table that had stock numbers, and we had this table that also had stock numbers. And what we did, we basically did some VLOOKUP formulas to get the type, price, and cost from this table to this table over here. So if you didn't watch that video, just go back and watch that one first. And in this video, we'll be talking about a different way of using VLOOKUP to categorize things based on a value. So what does that mean? So in this case, we have these different products and they have different prices. So what if we had a way to categorize these products based on price? So maybe some items that are expensive, we want to call them luxury items. Some that are, in mid area of pricing, we may want to call them like, middle or whatever. The name doesn't matter. So you'll see what I'm talking about. So let's say we're going to call that category. Great, so let's actually give the same formatting to all these headings. I'm gonna click on the stock number, click on this format painter, then select all of these labels to get the same formatting. So if we want to do something like that, the first thing we'll have to do is create our lookup table. We don't have one, and most of the time you're not going to have the lookup table. You will have to create it yourself. And the idea of your lookup table is going to be this. You're going to have to create the brackets of these different products. So right now, as I'm eyeing this data just to make something compatible, it seems like the highest price here is 190 and the lowest one is 85, right? So we'll say that if the product is below $110, we'll call it the first category. If the product is from $110 to $170, that will be the second category. And everything above is the third category or something like that. I'm not sure if I'm going to remember the brackets I just said, but it's not going to matter. We'll be able to change them. That's the whole point, right? So the first thing I'm going to do is create a whole new tab to make this clean, because I don't want to use the same tab. And a lot of times when you're doing something at work, you probably don't want to use the same tab, because the tab that you're going to have is going to be your data. So I'm going to rename this and call this categories. Categories. And here I'm gonna create that table. So what I was saying, if it's from 0 to 110, that's gonna be the first product category. And when I say 110, what I really mean, it's 109.99999 and so on, right? It does not include 110 in it. So the second category is going to be from 110 to, I believe I said 160 or 170. I'm not even sure what it was. So let's go with 160. And again, 159.99999. That's really what it is. And finally, the third one is going to be 160 and up. So those are main brackets that we want to create. So let's just insert a row on top and call this explanation, I guess. So it doesn't matter. So the main thing is that you're not going to be able to look up here, because this is just text we're typing in. So what we'll have to do is create those different brackets. And the way you do this, you look at these brackets that you've just typed in. So what did I type in? From 0 to 11109.9999, right? So you see what's the lowest value here? 0. And you type that in. What's the lowest value in this bracket? 110. What's the lowest here? 160. And that's what I really need. So I'm gonna call it lookup column, I guess. Not sure if that's the proper name for this, but we'll go with that, lookup column. So the main thing you have to know about this is that we're going to target approximate match or the is sorted option in Google Sheets, which means that for this to work, this has to be sorted in ascending order from the lowest value to the highest value. You cannot have 0, 100, 160, and then 110. It's not going to work. If you're not clear about this, go a couple of videos back about VLOOKUPs and watch the video to understand exactly why and how this works. But for now, we'll just keep it at that. This has to be sorted from the lowest value going to the highest value. And on the right, we're actually going to type what we're going to call these different categories. So I'm going to call that category, I guess. And the first one is going to be, let's type lower end, mid, and finally higher end. So that's what we're going to actually name these different brackets. So once you have this table, you're good to go. So now that we have this lookup table that we've created, now I can go back to my tab and create a VLOOKUP formula to actually figure out which bracket this product falls in. So I'm going to start with my equal sign, VL tab, to populate my VLOOKUP formula. The first thing I'm going to need is my search key. So my search key is going to be the price of this product. So I want to search for this price of this product in the other table and figure out which bracket it falls in. So I'm going to do comma, and the second one is the range. So again, we made our category table for that. So I'm going to go to my categories tab, go ahead and select the table. And again, I'm starting in my B column, going all the way to the right, and we'll need to lock this table with an F4. So the table is locked now. So comma again. Now we have to look at our column index. So it's going to be, the category is the second column, so 1, 2. And finally, this is our is sorted option, which is true or 1. So if you're working from Excel, this is going to be called approximate match, which is again true or 1. So close our parentheses for our VLOOKUP function. And again, as usual, it's important to lock the range for all your VLOOKUP formulas. I'm going to go ahead and hit enter, and now it should go ahead and figure out which bracket that product falls in. So that's it. Higher end. Let's make enough space here. So that's higher end, 190. Great. So let's copy this formula down. And now we've made our formula that is going to categorize our items. Isn't that great? So that's good. Now, another things we may want to do is we want to make this possibly more dynamic, because as we're adding more data here, it's still going to work. All we have to do is copy the formula down, but it's also possible we may want to just come here and change our brackets later on. So maybe we'll add another point in our bracket. Maybe we'll have 4. So maybe we'll go from 0 to 110 to be the first one. Then we'll go from 110 to 140 to be the second, and then from 150 to 170 to be the third, and then up, right? So we'll change our bracket. So if we're just changing, we're keeping the 3 bracket system like we have now, we don't need anything. We can just go ahead and change these numbers. But if I go ahead and add another one. So let's say we'll go from 0 to, actually just go from 0 to 100, 99.9999, right? And then we'll do from 100 to 130 or something. So 129.999, and here we're gonna go from 130 to 100. I don't know. Let's go 169.9999, and this is gonna be 170 and up. So again, these are just names, so let's just update them. So I'm looking what's the lowest value, 130, 170. So that's all good, right? So now let's give all of these some names. So lower end, mid, higher end, and this is luxury. Let's just type that. So these are the new brackets and these are the new names we want to have. So let's go and look at our table. So as you can see, what we have right now, it didn't translate. So the 190 price we have here, we're still getting higher end, and the reason for it is this is still looking at our initial table that we have. It's not including this new column we've added. So an easy way to make that happen, and again, this is only in Google Sheets. This is not going to work this way if you're in Excel. So in Excel, you'll have to use table feature to make this work. But for Google Sheets, I'm going to open this. So what I'm going to do, see how I have the range going from B2 all the way through C4. So what I'm going to do is remove the last row argument here. So I'm going to say from B2 colon C, and I'm not going to specify the row. So I'm excluding the last, whatever the row number was and the $sign for it that locks it. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit enter. So there it is, it updates to luxury. And if I drag this down, now everything updates to our new brackets. And what's going to happen now, no matter how many new items I add here, my initial table is gonna automatically update and get the new bracket information and just categorize our items based on that. So there it is. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video, and we'll move on to our next VLOOKUP example in our next video.